The city of Troy, or Ilion, was the heart of a kingdom in Asia Minor, perched close to the Hellespont. During the time of the famous Trojan War, King Priam ruled the city. Priam was wed to Hecuba, the daughter of Dymas, the king of Thrace. Among their children, the most renowned were the fearless Hector, the prophetic Cassandra, and Paris, the man who would set the wheels of the Trojan War in motion. Before the birth of her second son, Paris, Hecuba had a dream. She dreamt that she had given birth to a blazing brand. A seer named Oddyseus, the son of Priam from a previous marriage, interpreted the dream. He explained that it foretold the birth of a son who would bring destruction to the city of Troy. Troubled by this prophecy, Hecuba decided to expose her newborn on Mount Ida, hoping the child would perish. However, kind-hearted shepherds found the baby and raised him, unaware of his noble lineage. As the boy grew into a man, he gained a reputation for his extraordinary beauty, strength, and courage. It was during this time that he was called upon to settle the famous dispute involving the golden apple, thrown into the assembly of the gods, by the goddess of discord. He favored Aphrodite, earning the enmity of Hera and Athene, who never forgave him for his choice. Paris eventually married a beautiful nymph, and they lived a peaceful life in pastoral seclusion. But this tranquility was not meant to last. Hearing about funereal games held in Troy in honor of a deceased relative of the king, Paris decided to visit the city and participate in the games himself. There, he stood out in a contest against his unknown brothers, Hector and Deiphobus. The proud young princes were incensed that a shepherd had defeated them, but Cassandra intervened and revealed Paris's true identity as their brother. He was reunited with his parents, and the ominous prophecy of the past was forgotten amid the celebrations. With the king's confidence restored, he assigned Paris a delicate mission. It was now suggested that Paris should sail to Greece with a considerable fleet and demand the return of the king's sister. Long before Paris embarked on his fateful journey, Cassandra, gifted with prophecy, had warned him against bringing a Greek wife back to Troy. She foresaw that ignoring her counsel would spell doom for the city and Priam's house. Undeterred by Cassandra's dire predictions, Paris led a fleet to Greece. There, he laid eyes upon Helen, the daughter of Zeus and Leda, and the most beautiful woman of her era. Helen was the wife of Menelaos, the king of Sparta. Many renowned Greek heroes had vied for her hand, but Tyndareus, her stepfather, sought to avoid making enemies among the unsuccessful suitors. He insisted that all contenders swear to assist and defend the chosen husband in any future disputes related to the marriage. Ultimately, Helen became Menelaos's wife, and he took the throne. Upon arriving in Sparta, Paris was welcomed by King Menelaos. He displayed his charm and skills at a banquet, winning the favor of both the host and his wife, Helen. Paris presented Helen with rare and exquisite trinkets from Asia, further endearing himself to her. While Paris was still a guest at Menelaos's court, the king received an invitation from his friend Idomeneus, the king of Crete, for a hunting expedition. Menelaos, trusting and unsuspecting, accepted the invitation, leaving Helen to entertain their guests. Captivated by Helen's extraordinary beauty, Paris abandoned all notions of honor and duty, resolving to steal Menelaos's wife in his absence. Gathering his followers, they seized the royal castle, plundered its treasures, and absconded with Helen, who, in her heart, was not entirely unwilling. They set sail, but encountered rough seas, which forced them to anchor at the island of Crania. Years passed, and as they drifted further from their homeland, Paris and Helen's love deepened. It wasn't until much later that they eventually made their way to Troy, their homecoming long forgotten. When Menelaos received word of his violated home and the abduction of his wife, he set out for Pylos, accompanied by his brother Agamemnon. Their destination was the wise and experienced King Nestor, a renowned statesman. Nestor, after learning the details of the case, opined that only the collective might of all the Greek states could hope to challenge the powerful kingdom of Troy and recover Helen. Menelaos and Agamemnon raised the war cry, a rallying call answered unanimously from one end of Greece to the other. Many of those who volunteered their services had once been suitors of Helen. They were bound by their oath to support Menelaos's cause. Others joined out of a love for adventure, but all shared a deep sense of disgrace that their homeland would bear if such a crime went unpunished. Thus, a formidable army was assembled, with few notable names missing from its ranks. Only two great heroes, Odysseus and Achilles, presented challenges to Menelaos. Odysseus, known for his wisdom and cunning, was living contentedly in Ithaca with his young wife Penelope and their son, Telemachus. He was reluctant to leave his happy home for a perilous foreign expedition with an uncertain duration. When asked for his services, Odysseus pretended to be insane. However, the shrewd Palamedes, a distinguished hero in Menelaos's company, saw through the ruse and exposed it. Thus, Odysseus was compelled to join the war. He never forgave Palamedes for intervening, and, as we'll soon discover, he exacted a cruel revenge. Achilles, the son of Peleus and the sea goddess Thetis, was said to be invulnerable, except for his right heel, which his mother held when she dipped him in the river Styx as a baby. When he was 9, a prophecy was made to Thetis. It said that Achilles would either live a long life of ease and inactivity, or a short, victorious life ending as a hero. Naturally, Thetis, a devoted mother, hoped for the former and took Achilles to the island of Scyros in the Aegean Sea. There, disguised as a girl, he was raised among the daughters of King Lycomedes. With the necessity of Achilles' presence foretold by an oracle, Menelaos turned to Calchas, the soothsayer, for guidance. Calchas revealed the hidden location of Achilles. Odysseus was then dispatched to Scyros to seek him out. Through a clever ruse, Odysseus identified Achilles among the palace's maidens. He posed as a merchant, offering various trinkets for sale to the king's daughters. All the girls except one displayed genuine interest in his wares. Odysseus astutely deduced that the one who held back must be the young Achilles. To further confirm his hunch, he presented a magnificent set of warlike gear and played stirring martial music. Achilles, filled with a warrior's fervor, seized the weapons and thus revealed himself. He joined the Greek cause, accompanied by his kinsman Patroclus, and contributed a substantial force of Thessalian troops, known as Myrmidons, and 50 ships to the expedition. Over the course of 10 years, Agamemnon and the other leaders devoted their energies and resources to preparing for the war against Troy. Amid these warlike preparations, attempts at a peaceful resolution were not overlooked. An embassy led by Menelaos and Odysseus was sent to King Priam, demanding Helen's surrender. Despite the grand reception they received, the demand was firmly declined. In response, the ambassadors returned to Greece, and the order was given to assemble the fleet at Aulis in Boeotia. Never before in Greece's history had such a vast army been mustered. 100,000 warriors gathered at Aulis, with over 1,000 ships resting in the bay, awaiting their journey to the shores of Troy. The command of this immense host fell to Agamemnon, the powerful king of Argos, among the Greek princes. Before setting sail, solemn sacrifices were made to the gods on the seashore. During the ritual, a serpent climbed a plane tree, in which a sparrow's nest held 9 fledglings. The snake devoured the young birds and their mother, before Zeus transformed it into stone. Calchas the soothsayer, interpreting the miracle, foresaw a war lasting 9 years, with the city of Troy falling only in the 10th. With the preparations complete, the Greek fleet embarked on its journey. Unfortunately, they mistakenly believed the Mysian coast to be that of Troy. Landing their troops, they began to pillage the land. Telephus, the Mysian king and a son of the great hero Heracles, led a sizable army to oppose them. He successfully drove the Greeks back to their ships, but was wounded by Achilles' spear during the battle. Patroclus, fighting valiantly alongside Achilles, was also wounded. However, Achilles, trained by Chiron, tended to the injuries and managed to heal them. This incident marked the beginning of the renowned friendship between the two heroes, a bond that persisted even in death. The Greeks retreated to Aulis, and Telephus, finding his wound incurable, consulted an oracle. The response revealed that only the one who had inflicted the injury could heal it. Telephus journeyed to the Greek camp, where Achilles, at Odysseus' request, healed him. Grateful, Telephus agreed to serve as a guide for their voyage to Troy. As the second departure approached, Agamemnon faced a tragic mishap. He inadvertently killed a sacred hind of Artemis, provoking the goddess's anger. In her fury, Artemis sent persistent calms that prevented the fleet from sailing. Calchas, the soothsayer, advised that only the sacrifice of Agamemnon's daughter, Iphigenia, could appease the enraged goddess. With a favorable wind finally blowing, the fleet set sail once more. Their first stop was the island of Tenedos, where the famed archer Philoctetes, in possession of Heracles' bow and arrows gifted to him by the dying hero, suffered a snakebite to his foot. The wound emitted a foul odor so unbearable that, following Odysseus' advice, the Greeks transported Philoctetes to the island of Lesbos. There, much to his dismay, he was abandoned to his fate, while the fleet continued its journey toward Troy. If you're interested in fates of more heroes, here is another video for you about Hercules and his life. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Have a mythical day, and thank you for stopping by.